It's the first Monday of the month, and that means there's a new kit from Hero Arts. This one has stolen my heart utterly and completely. It's my favorite kit to date, and oh, so very fun to play with. I have several cards to share, using mostly stamps and coordinating dies from my kit, and also a few add-on stamp sets from this month's release from Hero Arts. Hi everyone, I'm Yana Smakula and I'm hoping you will love this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell too to be notified of every new upload. All of my cards feature a ton of Copic marker coloring. The images in January My Monthly Hero Kit are all outline and are great for coloring, and hence you can use your favorite coloring medium here to color with. Here I've already stamped the shop storefront in intense black ink, which is a Copic marker friendly ink, and I have started coloring it with my Copic markers. I'm using this gorgeous image on all of my cards today, and the difference between the cards is in various color combos and also kind of various use of this window image itself. Here I used my go-to pink color combo, RV14, RV13, RV11, and RV10 to color the awning. Next, I use my gray markers, W1, W3, and W5 to color the area under the awning, as I was planning to color the entire facade light gray. And I also added shading to the white sections of the awning, as white isn't white everywhere. There are shaded areas, and so adding a bit of gray is a good idea. Next, I realized that my W3 marker was a bit too dry to color the entire facade, and I didn't have a refill for that marker, so I opted to use my brown markers instead and colored the entire facade brown. I used E13, E15, and E79 colors for this. Really, you can color these any way you like, using any colors that you prefer, and that's the beauty of these images. I kind of first envisioned this card as a shaped card, and so I die cut the facade and also die cut 2 additional shapes out of brown cardstock to make the actual card base. Here I'm just adding adhesive and gluing things together. I did change my mind later and I used my colored storefront on a regular A2 card, but I wanted to include this segment in this video to show you that you can indeed use this kit to make gorgeous shaped cards for Valentine's Day, birthdays, and so many other occasions. Next, I used Sentiment from one of the add-on stamp sets in white heat embossed hugs and kisses on the brown panel. At this time, I had also stamped, colored, and cut out additional images to decorate the window. I keep calling it a storefront, but really, on this card especially, it is actually just a window. I kept working on that shaped card idea, and I added a score line to create a hinge for the card, and adhered the 2 panels together, the front of the card base and the back to make a shaped card. I wasn't really too happy with the result, so I ended up using this die cut on a regular A2 white side folding card base. I added some gray shading under the window. It's kind of hard to see it in the photo. I foam mounted the bike with lots of potted plants and added a lot of clear glitter, coating the awning, the base of the bike, and the watering can. The glitter here actually signifies snow. I was picturing this as a Valentine's Day card, and it still snows in my neck of the woods on Valentine's Day, so I thought it would look really nice here. For my next card, I had stamped a bunch more windows and a ton of plants and pots. I colored them all using my markers. I did not film the coloring part as it was just boring coloring, and here I'm using my coordinating dies to die cut these images out. I have to say, I love it when there are coordinating dies available for the images to cut them out, and that really lets you do a whole lot with your stamps and save you all of that time from the fussy cutting. And I'm really glad to see Hero Arts include coordinating dies with their kits. For this card, I had envisioned a florist shop. I wanted to create a beautiful display bursting with all sorts of spring flowers. I colored the awning in stylish black and white, and also used black for all of the flower pots and containers. I colored these images using C9, C7, and C5 markers, skipping the use of the actual black marker, as I did not want it to be too black or too dark on the card. I had arranged the images to my liking, setting up rows and rows of gorgeous, freshly cut flowers and bouquets, and next worked on a sentiment for this card. I white heat embossed "You're Beautiful" on a black panel. I cut it out using the coordinating die once again, and my plan was to layer the Florist shop display over it. By the way, all of the products I'm using today are listed in my video description. Be sure to check there if you're looking for a specific product name or link. Next, I foam mounted my colored die cut on the black sentiment panel. I used fun foam from my stash to have even solid layer of dimension here. I adhered my storefront onto a piece of cream wood grain cardstock that was cut to 4¼ by 5½ inches, so a perfect A2 card front. And next, I foam mounted the flowers and planters onto the card. Another thing that I totally loved on this card is a newspaper. I stamped a newspaper-like image in black ink on thin printer paper, and I cut it out into a rectangle using scissors. Now, I stamped it on printer paper instead of cardstock, as the kind of paper the newspapers are printed on is very thin, and I wanted my newspaper to look as real as possible. Next, I folded it as if one would fold a newspaper and tucked it into the storefront. I actually stamped the same image on both front and back of the paper to resemble the newspaper as much as possible. I think adding it to the display really pulled this card together and added a special touch. I'm really glad that I made it here and added it to this card. The newspaper here looks like it was left behind by an absent-minded customer who was shopping for flowers for his loved one. Next, I used my Nuvo drops in white and purple to add dimensional accents to the card, to the flower centers actually, and once again I coated select images with clear stickles to add that feeling of snow and chilly winter to this card. For my final card, I wanted to have 2 windows and a little plaque, if you will, in between them. The sort of plaque you'd see on old buildings that says the name of the street or has a little blurb about the significance or history of the building. We have a lot of those down here in Europe. Of course, I would have a sentiment there on that plaque for my card. I went with yet again a different color combination and used lots of blue on this card. I used B000, B00, and B02 markers for the most part to do my coloring. At first, I had stamped a wall behind the windows in pink using a gorgeous heart image from one of the add-on stamp sets that are released this month. But that kind of looked too busy for me, and I later changed the background to a different, simpler one, a gray wood grain background. I added all of the usual things, the flowers, the pots, the watering can, and finally the sentiment that reads, "My heart is all yours," and coated everything with clear stickles to look like glistening snow. I hope you'll give this idea a try. If you do, remember to share online and tag me on social media. I always love seeing what you guys are making. On the screen, there is a link to a playlist with all of my Hero Arts tutorials. Subscribe now not to miss any new card making videos. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.